Thanks, Jasper.
Okay.
Wala si Emil, no? It's us three lang.
Yes, wala si Emil.
Hmm.
Hindi natin makukuha ang kanyang live reacts to Eruption.
Oo nga, sayang.
Good evening, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, everybody.
Neil, John, JK, Carlo,
D Prime,
Prime, Anton,
Anton,
John.
what's up, John? May listener pala tayo na nambati sa amin ni Chino nung Running Man
Yes.
advanced screening. Si
Hey.
JM.
What's up
Hey,
to you,
nice.
sir?
He called me Ro. It's the first time someone's actually called me Ro.
Actually, you know what? It used to be na tayong dalawang nako-confused. Me and
Oh
Stan.
my,
Yeah.
Got him
that
Stan
is
a few
that is
times.
strange.
That is the first time I've heard.
No. The strangest fact is that all three of us get mistaken for one another.
another.
When all three
Yes,
of us look very
exactly.
different from one another.
Tsaka may labels na nga sa sa tawag doon
Hindi,
sa stream
kaya
natin
importante na manood sila sa YouTube para
Yeah,
makita nila yung
exactly.
mga mukha natin. Hindi pwedeng
Yeah, if
audio
you-
only lang.
Hindi,
Diba?
dito maririnig ka sa kasi pre-show tayo. So you have to
Oo.
repeat it. You have to repeat it when you
Mamaya,
go
sige.
on.
That's it for the pre-showers, diba? Importante din yan.
No,
Yung
the
sa
pre-showers know
YouTube.
who we are. If you're watching the pre-show, it means you can see video and you can see the labels of our video. Kasi
Kailangan natin.
clearly, like si Franz, when Franz first met us, he didn't know who was who, diba? So it was
He
clear.
thought I was Chino.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was clear that some of you guys know us from whenever you listen to podcasts. That's totally cool.
I've also got it stand before a few times.
Yeah.
So.
Kayo normal yun kasi you're both Chinese. I don't understand how Stan and I can be confused for each other.
Oh. It's very old school radio now that I think about it, diba? Hindi mo alam yung itsura ng mga taong nagsasalita.
Yung meron ka pa, magbibigla ka na lang sa itsura nila when you meet your favorite
Uy, pang
DJ
radyo pala yung
person.
mukha mo.
How did I can't remember how I found out who was who sa Boy Side Out. Like
Baka Twitter.
I remember
probably Twitter,
feeling,
yeah.
I remember
Twitter,
feeling
yeah,
that
yeah.
way when I met, sobrang old school pa nito, Miles of 89.9.
Oh, shit. That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yun yung unang experience ko nung ganyang moment. Oh, that's what you look like. Okay.
Hello, Ina. How are you? How are you all this evening? Eksplosibo rin ba yung inyong araw?
Hi, Ina.
No Emil today. Wala tayong live eruption reacts, unfortunately.
Wala tayong marirage bait.
Walang magbawala in the middle of the episode.
Sayang, hindi rin natin makukuha yung live reacts niya sa pagkasisante ni Nico Harrison.
Ay, oo nga, no?
You better
Hey, he and I are on the same page with that.
tell him you better
Saya ko eh.
record a
Ako eh.
video.
Baka mawala na siya dun sa list ni Emil.
Lakers Hall of Famer na siya, man. Fucking gift wrap Luka Doncic. For AD who's out for months.
Umasa sila kay Cooper Flood eh.
Oh boy. Too fun.
Okay, so I actually have some odds about the final retirement match to Cena. I was sent some odds by this press release. This PR agency, yeah. We can talk about it later when we talk about the Last Time Is Now tournament.
Sige.
Sige. 10.
please hit my music and yeet.
My name is Colin Cash Money Cannon.
What do we want to talk about?
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
You're still just a kid. Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Because mommy is always on top.
This is Lola Vice. I love you so much.
They love my Latina heat.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
You are CM Punk.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
To say his name.
Say his name and he appears.
Stan C, the voice of Philippine wrestling. University of the Philippines, Diliman.
Romoran, the fancy dad. University of the Philippines, Diliman.
Chino Liao, Best Gout Machine, San Sebastian College Recoletos, College of St. Benilde, De La Salle University, International Academy of Film and Television.
Emulate, Small Forward, the Ateneo de Naga University.
When you're listening.
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
And you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
to the Wrestling Podcast.
Wrestling Podcast.
On our Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
You're listening to the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
You are watching and listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C, Romoran, and Chino Liao live on a Thursday, November 13. And, you know, if you're on social media or if you're terminally online, you know, you may have noticed all the talk about death. But we here on the podcast just want to talk about the 20th death anniversary of Eddie Guerrero. Because it's today.
Yes.
We will not let it be outshined. Because 20 years ago, we lost a grade A legend. Someone na, as Ro wrote on yung social media post natin sa Facebook page. Until now, pinag-iisipan pa rin natin ano kaya mangyayari sa industry, sa mundo natin, sa fandom natin if Eddie lived to be 58, which is how old he would have been if he had survived to this day.
Yeah, we've talked so much over the years. Because you know, there was a point where almost every year we celebrated the death of the life, the birthday.
Di ba celebrated, commemorated?
Yeah, commemorated the death, the life, the birthday. So we've spoken so many words about Eddie, and I think there's not much left to say. Although if you're new here, we love Eddie. We, at least Stan and I grew up on Eddie's prime, nung WWE Championship run niya, and it's nothing new, honestly, that you haven't heard from possibly other fans, other analysts, from wrestlers themselves. You know, wrestlers in the WWE right now, on TV right now. So whatever you're feeling about Eddie, kung naabutan mo si Eddie, if you were privileged enough in your fandom. And Shepard, you can always watch Eddie's stuff now on the network, on Netflix, if you have Netflix, on Peacock, all the archives of Vault, the WWE Vault. A lot of that stuff is there. Eddie is immortalized in so many ways. But if you were there for the actual run, you know it was special. You know it was a different vibe, a special kind of energy. And we still miss him. Whatever everyone feels about it, we feel about it. We feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Una-una, walang career si Dominic Mysterio. Pag buhay pa si Eddie Guerrero. Tapos wala siyang kukopyahin eh. But also, Eddie Guerrero's legacy is that his style was very indicative of the time where he was on top of the WWE. Diba? All the rivalries he's had with Lesnar, with JBL, with Rey Mysterio, very off that time, off that era. So, if it weren't for those rivalries, hindi tayo dadating sa point na to eh. So, while yes, we mourn his death, we also celebrate the fact that he was around when he was around. Diba? And that's the thing that we talked about all the time here sa podcast na to. So we commemorate his death, we miss him dearly, and we thank him for what he's done for the business.
Yeah. You know, there are no other deaths that we're going to talk about on the podcast, you know. And now, mag-ingay para sa paborito niyong Marcy Camille Prats!
Happy birthday, Christine Reyes.
Happy birthday, Christine Reyes. Happy birthday, Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, that's right.
R.I.P. Eddie Guerrero and happy birthday, Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Yun.
All right, we have a lot to talk about here on the show, but of course, we got to remind you, if you enjoy the content that we put out, please hit the subscribe button or follow button on Spotify. It really does a lot for our algorithm. If you want to join the conversation, please leave a comment. Let us know what you think about all of this wrestling talk or even the fun stuff that we get into.
Note kayo sa YouTube, guys. If you, I mean, we're always pushing Spotify, but we're also pushing our YouTube channel now. Nothing totally new if you like watch the live stream every Monday and Thursday. But if you don't get to catch that. We're uploading the video version of the podcast, and if that's more up your speed, you can go watch us on YouTube, put us in the background, and just keep it playing, and that's gonna help us a lot. We've been
Also,
getting a few more subscribers, so please tell your friends if they're wrestling fans, if they want to hear wrestling talk, subscribe kayo sa amin.
Also, definitely helpful if you guys watch us on YouTube. Para pag na-meet nyo kami in person, hindi na kayo malilito. Who's
yes.
Diba? So, si Stan ba yan? Si Chino ba yan? Si Ron na yan? Hindi. Kilala niyo nga kung sino, hindi kayo ma-culture shock or ma-starstruck.
Ang importante lang naman is pagkamalan nyo kami lahat, wag lang si Emil Nate.
Oo. Pag tinawag nyo kaming Emil Nate, magwawala kami. Mag-eliminate.
Kayo yung ipe-play-natin namin.
Oo. Ipe-play-natin namin kayo on the spot.
Yeah. The YouTube's got a lot of goodies. Our interview with Lacey Lane, it's over there. With Carlo Cannon, nandun din. We've got some old stuff on our YouTube as well. I believe our interview with Grayson Waller from years ago is there as well.
We're gonna try to upload as much of the old interviews, lalo na yung mga guests namin, as much as we can find them. Kasi, syempre, we recorded video of all of those, and syempre, we want y'all to see it.
Oh, yeah. Also support us on all the platforms: Spotify, YouTube. Diba? Leave a comment, leave a like, leave a share if you can, because it really means a lot to the algorithm. Pag na namin lang pinapansin niyo yung content namin.
Exactly.
So definitely helpful all around. Leave a comment on Spotify, leave a 5-star rating if you can. Diba? On YouTube, do the same. Leave a like, leave a comment, and leave us a follow while you're at it.
Yeah. Patreon and Gank, other ways you can support the show. Patreon.com/wrestling podcast, ganknow.com/wrestling2xpod. And if you want to sponsor anything like your own Play Nathan segment, pwede rin natin pag-usapan yan. Send us an email on hello.wrestlingwrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. Ito, question from the comments. Will there be a watch party for John Cena's final match? If so, where can I inquire? Well, hey, you've come to the right place. You're inquiring here.
Yeah, hey Jeg, we're trying to work that out now. My fault that we didn't work it out earlier, but we are trying to get our hands on it. We've already let the authorities know that this date is very important. We hope to get a lot of people on board when it happens or should it happen. So abang-abang lang kayo and cross your fingers that we get the spot in our usual haunts.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's start with our wrestling talk over on the AEW side of things, and let's get into Blood and Guts. So, Blood and Guts ended with Jon Moxley tapping out again, and the Death Riders ended up losing to the Conglomeration plus Roderick Strong. So, what do you think about this result? Ako medyo nagulat ako because it's the second time in as many months that Mox has tapped out after he'd been built as this unstoppable villain, diba, sa AEW.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I can no longer I can no longer abide anyone telling me that, Jon Moxley's this, Jon Moxley's that. This man is the most unselfish guy right now. Like, they needed him to be the heel. Siyempre, he did that. He did his part to the point where people were so sick of him, and they're so sick of him now. Like, people still think he's like the black sheep of the Shield. But he put Darby over. He put Hangman over. He put Kyle O'Reilly over, even though nobody was expecting Kyle O'Reilly to be put over. And now he put himself in the position that people have a reason to doubt him, and his storyline associates have a reason to doubt him because he's the one who kept tapping out. He's the one who kept losing. Like, anyone else could have lost that. Like, fucking Daniel Garcia or Wheeler Yuta could have been the guys to eat the tap out. but it was John Moxley who put himself in that spot, and that's really, really something to be proud of, or something to note. Because they're obviously going somewhere with this. Like, it's hard to not take note of that.
Yeah, it's interesting because for years, or for naman years, for like the past few months at least, I have said that Moxley doesn't know how to tell a story. Like, he refuses to tell a story. Now I get it. I get the kinds of story that he wants to tell. Diba? He doesn't do it through promos or through segments. Diba? He does it through his body. Diba? He does it in the matches that he works. Diba? In the way that he actually lost in this match, it's very proof of that, because the fact that he was willing to not only be tapped out but also be tapped out by Kyle O'Reilly, who to me was the most unlikely person to get the victory there, just goes to show the kind of wrestling John Moxley does and the kind of stories that he wants to tell. May kwento siya, you just have to be keen enough to know what it is.
Yeah, that's a great point that you brought up. I'm glad that you mentioned that, and I'm glad that you came to the realization that it's not going to be all soap opera, heavy-handed drama the way WWE does it. Like, there is a certain kind of way that AEW does it. They still take the soap opera stuff for sure, pero they also do, like I said, tell the story in the ring, and this is part of the story that they're telling in the ring. And again, it's really interesting where it's going to go from here.
I actually want to see Moxley actually go through this rut that he's going through, diba? Yung journey na to of maybe getting kicked out of the Death Riders, diba? A group that he started. I want to see him get the Edge treatment or the Seth Rollins treatment here, diba? That way we can actually know na eto na nga yung kwento nila. He's the leader. He founded this group, and now he's getting unceremoniously booted for a couple of blunders. So the fact that it's a story that's been told before will be interesting to me, because let's see how John Moxley can tell that story.
Does the Blood and Guts match itself, ano yung pinaka nakakagagong spot for you?
Which one?
Men, sorry. We're still talking about the men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, nakagago yung flaming table spot, because you are a big company and no one was ready with fire extinguishers. Like, that was the entire point why we ranted about the infamous spot from all those years ago. And no one was, y'all saw Gabe Kidd.
Lumiyab yung likod niya, man.
Yeah, exactly. Buti na lang, maliit lang siya, diba? It's not like some other people we know. But you saw the table getting lit on fire, and no one was ready with a fire extinguisher. The refs weren't ready with that.
I was actually waiting for fire extinguisher.
Yeah, exactly.
Tapos, walang nangyari, so I was like, so okay.
Exactly. Like, we saw Edge versus Mick Foley do the same spot, and the refs were quickly on that, and people let fucking Darby.
Or t-shirt pa si Mick Foley doon.
No, people let fucking Darby have that little fire on his back.
Yeah. Literally on fire for a good few seconds. Sobrang lala. Ang nakagago din sa akin yung big time sila to set up a carabiner to bring up like 5
that
chairs.
was funny.
Diba? Okay, what is this? Arts and crafts time? Like, what are you doing? I was watching this match, looking at all the carnage, and then suddenly may naglabas ng tali. It's like, may tali.
Kala ko may sasakal sila eh. Like, they were gonna literally hang someone, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what I
rin.
thought. Tapos, wala, nag-akit lang sila ng chairs. Okay. That took 50
Nakakagago rin
minutes.
yung fork. Like, Mox came in, diba, with a fork?
Yeah.
That was
that's normal Mox though. That's why he
Yeah, but still nakakagago. Okay, I get it. How about ano?
Yung stapler niya yung kamay.
Yes, I was gonna mention that. Oh God.
Yun yung nakakagago.
Tanas tinipol sa denim. Actually, gusto ko malaman kung nag-puncture ba through the denim yung staple wire.
He had to do it a few times, so probably not. Like, he's probably doing it a few times. Manipis lang naman yung staple wire. So, I don't know. I don't know how the physics of that works, but he did it a few times. So, parang medyo intense yun. The cringe factor alone is there, man.
All right, let's get to the women's Blood and Guts match, which ended because of an expression of love. Because Toni Storm was so hurt seeing Mina Shirakawa get whacked by the championship titles over and over and over again. So what did you think of that ending?
Loved it.
Loved it.
I loved that it was literally the Hell in a Cell ending between Roman and Jay.
Yes.
So obviously that's far enough back, and may relationship naman si Tony and Mina for them to do that, and that was pretty good. I like the way that they set it up. I like that they ended with a logical story. Like they could have easily just destroyed destroyed someone, and but you have to get the win via tap out or give up. Diba? So I like that they were cruel enough to really subject not Mina but Tony to the cruelty of watching your lover at this point get hurt with no one else coming to save them. So that was pretty cool, and that was a pretty fun way to get the win.
Yeah, medyo mahirap siya panoorin, honestly. It's like I've seen death matches before. I'm not really that cringy, but when you saw the terror on Tony Storm's face, habang hinahampas si Mina with all those belts, man, oh my God, let it stop, let it stop. And they got exactly what they wanted. Diba? Yung reaction na nila from that spot, they got it because it was successful. Tony Storm gave up, diba? Dumating pa sa point na nag-ring na yung bell, inupakan pa rin si Marina Shafiri. Diba?
Tinatadyakan pa sila.
Yeah, because that's how wrought with emotion she was in that moment. And it really goes to show how good, how well planned this match was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was nuts. Kasi like 5 minutes in, dumudugo na si Sky Blue, di ba?
Yeah,
Shout out to Sky Blue, man. My God,
so apparently Sky Blue was the one pushing for the women's blood and guts match to happen for quite a while now. Kaya she really took the time to start the match for her team and
bleed out.
Bleed the fuck out of the match.
She looked so good in this match, though.
Yeah.
I said, I commend. I think she really proved herself in this match. And I think she's the MVP dito sa match na to for the
Yeah, I love I love it when the women just do the hardcore stuff, the deathmatchy stuff, because a lot of people really don't think that they have it in them, diba? Like women say that you're gonna do a hardcore match and you're not gonna bleed like that, the way the men do, and I just like to see them prove everyone wrong and show they can do all that stuff as well, just as good as the men do. Because newsflash, the deathmatch stuff, that doesn't take a lot of skill. It just takes a lot of guts, pun somewhat intended. So I like that they're able to not shy away from it and to really show they are capable of just the same kind of artistic violence that the men can do.
Nakakagago din yung, sorry, just lastly, nakakagago din yung lumusot si Julia Hart tsaka si Tekla.
Oh yeah! Good Lord.
Like, my God. Okay, wow. I had to rewind it to see if
that was
what
smart.
I was watching was real. Kasi di ko expect kung gano'n nakalaki or how big the hole was. But man, I was like, wow, okay.
Nagkasya sila dun.
Yeah. Nobody thought
of that. Rin yung yung bed of nails, di ba?
Yeah.
Like, total, there was an opening there for like the Bon Jovi reference, and somehow the old guy totally whiffed on it. I'm like, another disappointment. Ano pa ba? Jamie Hayter whacking Tekla in the nether regions with a kendo stick. That was pretty funny. That was felt by everybody, all around the world.
All genders.
All genders. And oh my gosh, Tony Storm taking the mirror to the face. Good God. What an explosion of glass. Grabe, nakakapangilo din, because like unlike you guys, I am very squeamish when it comes to blood. So I couldn't say na I watched every bit of it talaga actively because like I can't stand seeing kunwari yung mga bubog or yung mga attacks and people getting slammed onto them or whatever. It just really creeps me out.
Going back to it, John Moxley had to tap out at glass. Diba?
Yeah.
So, So, isipin mo na lang, diba?
Yeah. So yun. Full transparency. That's one of my weaknesses in real life. So like I just could not. But salute to everyone who put themselves through that, because that was a hell of a performance. One of the most extreme expressions of art, if you will. All right, last bit here from Blood and Guts. What's going to happen to the Young Bucks? Is this enough to make them join the family?
That's a great story beat that they put out there. Like, they really are telling the story there. I have to mention that because some people don't think AEW does stories, but I like that they just really are pushing this. Like even Okada, they have to add in the wrinkle that Okada, their actual ally before he officially switched to the Don Callis family, is asking them to come in. That's pretty cool. I like that they're also selling. They are somehow conflicted now. I don't know why they're conflicted because they've always been assholes, but now they are for whatever reason. But also, I guess because Jack Perry was also their friend. Everyone's interconnected here. So I guess they're coming in with doubts. Maybe it's setting up a face turn. I don't know if it's the right time to do a face turn, but hey, they are selling the feelings, the conflict. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, Kenny Omega is making his return next week on Dynamite. So malaking factor din yan because, Kenny, the Bucks, and even Jack Perry were all a part of AEW from its inception. So to see this actually play out, basing it on the history that all these men have with each other is interesting. Lalo na when you have somebody like Don Callis playing the devil on your shoulder, diba? Nandun siya, bumubulong siya in the background, tempting them to the dark side and all that. Interesting stuff, actually. Very commendable na the storyline is actually happening. Because I never thought I'd have a storyline where I actually root for the Bucks, Like, naging sila sa akin, naging sympathetic sila sa akin, di ba? Like, huwag kayong sasama dyan, di ba? You're rooting against the fact. Because otherwise, other storylines that involve the Bucks, I could care less. But this one actually has me glued.
Yeah, it's actually getting some investment from people, diba? And Okada is playing the heel role really well.
Oh.
Tsaka rin siya, relatable din siya to an extent. Kasi Perry nakataya, di ba? They're facing Jurassic Express for like $1 million or something.
$1 million.
Or is it $500K? Yun, $1 million.
$1 million,
so, inupakan ng Don Callis family yung Jurassic Express to show na, easy win na next week. And then they're like, is it really worth it for $1 million? So parang these guys who've been so lavish with the way they've spent their money, and then they've been assholes even after they went broke, parang are suddenly being faced with the lack of humanity that they have to swallow in order to get into contact with money again. So, it's an actual story.
Again, it is a good point that you brought up because na-connect din siya dun sa original cost nung box, diba? When they were like just throwing their money away, diba? Wala silang pera, pero nagkakasino pa rin sila, diba? Spending it on pyro and all that. So, nakakatawa nung una and then after a while, it's like, okay, it's a thing that they're doing. Right.
It's actually something that you wish that Baron Corbin got when he was broke.
Right. Diba?
But he just became Happy Corbin, and
there
was barely any nuance to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sayang, bum-ass Corbin was great when he was actually being made to feel yung repercussions ng mga ginagawa niya before when he was Baron Corbin. So yeah. All right, let's take an Emil Nate dance break. When we come back, we'll get into the highlights from an equally explosive Monday Night Raw. All right, let's talk about the highlights from the WWE side of things, starting with Monday Night Raw, and we have to talk about Grand Slam John. It actually happened. I'm not sure how many of you had lost all hope na Cena would ever complete the Grand Slam, but it actually happened. He won the Intercontinental Championship from Dirty Dom after a surprise match in Boston, of all places.
I didn't think it was going to be a thing, but, I guess they thought that it was a nice moment to have. Like, I don't think anyone would have lost sleep over the fact that John Cena would never be Grand Slam champion after breaking 17. 17 was the actual thing that they wanted to shoot for. especially after Ric Flair and everything. Diba? So I didn't think that it was going to be high up in their priorities. But when they came out in Boston, Dom came out, and oh hey, it's happening. Diba? And then you go to the point where in the middle of the match, you're gonna wonder, are they actually gonna do this? Diba? Is it time? Are they actually gonna pull the trigger with only 3 dates left on Cena's calendar? Diba? Like, and I guess they are, but a lot of people are complaining about it because, syempre, you sacrifice Dominic Mysterio. But then again, this is a guy who is also still the triple mega champion. So no one's really going to lose anything here. And if I'm Dom, I get to have a good match with John Cena before he retires. So pado na ako dun. Diba?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a big deal for Dom to have lost the championship, especially when you have people complaining about how much they don't like Dom as an Intercontinental Champion. But when you came from guys like Gunther, when you came from guys like shit, I can't remember who he won it
Jey
from.
Uso.
Jey Uso, I guess.
Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker.
Gunther actually won it from Ricochet.
Ricochet. I know. Oh.
Yeah. So I think John Cena holding the championship for a month here is not a bad thing to have for the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, I actually agree with Ro. I didn't expect Cena to actually be a Grand Slam winner. I don't think it really adds anything to his resume being a Grand Slam winner. People aren't going to talk about Cena's career and say, sayang, hindi siya Grand Slam winner. Diba? That's not the first thing people think of. Diba?
Bigger kay Sheamus nga, diba?
Oh, diba? Kasi ang unang nila sasabihin is all the other accolades he has in his career. 17-time world champion. Diba? Ang dami pa. Wala na akong maisip. Ang dami pang pwedeng sabihin about John Cena's career. The least you can say is hindi siya naging Grand Slam winner. Right? So, I wouldn't say this was a cherry on top. Siguro madaming cherries on top of a Sunday. Kasi it's unnecessary that it's there. But, I'm glad it happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if people are mad, then I think people are also forgetting to just see the fun in all of this. Diba? Cena was in pretty much his hometown. Diba? West Newbury is not that far from Boston. Tapos last time niya doon, and then you have the opportunity to, give him the Intercontinental Championship, if not have an IC title match in the first place. Like it's just a lot of fun. And there's a story right there, diba? The meta-narrative was built in. It was easy for everyone to understand. So if anybody's complaining, hindi ko maintindihan kasi it's right there.
Yeah, people are complaining because they saw this moment and decided to be analysts about it. Like, I get it. Like, I am an analyst a lot of times, pero this was also a pretty fun moment. Like, I understand. I'm
Have
also
some
part
humor.
of the business. Sorry, what?
Have some humor.
I'm also part of the business. I also understand that we are in the business of making moments. Diba? All the analysis be damned. It was a good moment, and it's gonna feed a whole lot of people for I guess months to come. It was fun and everybody enjoyed it. I mean, most people enjoyed it. So, if you have to look at this from a critical standpoint, then I'm sorry, it's your loss. It's at the end of the day, it's a fun thing to have.
If anything, kung matalino si Dominic Mysterio, he's actually gonna capitalize on the fact that it took John Cena to beat him. Diba? Like, ang dami niyang nakalaban, Rusev and Penta as of late. But it took a 17-time world champion to beat him. So kung matalino si Dominic Mysterio, he's gonna find an angle to use that to his advantage.
Nagmamaktol na siya on social media. He changed his profile picture to black. Kunwari namatayan siya.
Oh, what?
So he's
I
already
didn't even see that.
He's also mourning it like the New Day.
Yeah. So nagmamaktol na siya. He's already on it. Still working.
Nice.
That's why you love Dirty Dom.
Yeah, if he was smart, he'd find a way to capitalize on it, which he has. So it's good for him, diba?
Selfishly, I was telling Carlo this right after we called Raw. How lucky were we all to witness in the span of a year the Cena heel turn, number 17, and the Intercontinental Championship win?
I mean, yeah, sure, lucky, yes, but again, necessary? Probably not, But again, yun nga, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Nandiyan na yan. So I guess just celebrate it for what it is, diba?
Yeah, big moments, diba? I mean, even if the story, the journey to get there wasn't what everybody would have wanted, we still got it, diba?
Yeah.
There was another championship change on Raw. New women's tag team champions. The Kabuki Warriors are now 3-time title holders after sina Nia Jax and Lash Legend invaded yung main event and cost Alexa and Charlotte the match.
Yeah, I'm glad nobody got injured. Nobody had to be injured to to change hands. Really fun stuff. They are working towards War Games. I'm not sure just like the smoothest way to get there, but it is a lot smoother than the men, I feel. So makes sense. I think the Alexa Charlotte pairing, got its intended or achieved its intended goal. Diba? They helped Charlotte, wean off from the main event scene. They made her likable. I hope they don't break up. Like I hope this isn't the end of their team just because Venus is the champions. Like, diba? I think they built up an organic friendship that should extend past the title reign. Diba? Sana hindi lang sila friends kasi naging tag team champions sila.
Yeah. Amazing stuff from this match, but I will agree that this is the smoother build up to a War Games match out of the two potential War Games matches here. Diba? Kasi may built-in rivalry na and animosity between all those teams, right? Kind of expected Bailey and Lyra to play a role here, pero apparently puno na yung lineup, so wala na, sarado na yung tindahan for both sides, right? So it's still a nice build up. I would say definitely a lot smoother than what the men have going on.
Yeah. What do you think about the women's team or the women's War Games match being 4-on-4? Seemingly, hindi natin alam kung may maging fifth woman. I don't know. So far, kasi clear, diba, na 4-on-4. It's Nia, Lash, the Kabuki Warriors against Rio and Alexa and Charlotte.
Mas pa nga yun mas noteworthy pa yung sa men's side kasi 3-on-3 pa lang din sila dun So like, what, are they gonna stick with 3-on-3 on that side? Diba, parang, so hindi pa rin guaranteed for both sides na
I think
puno na, diba, right?
I think the women will add one more to each side, diba? I think there is they did the tease with Becky last week,
right?
Diba? So then they also did a tease with Jade, diba? So there's also that. I either of those two can work. I think it's a matter of will you trust either Maxine or Jade in a War Games match. So there's that.
I would love to see Maxine in the War Games.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think
honestly,
I think there is space for one more. Maybe even two more.
Yeah, kung kinaya nga ni Harley Cameron kaya ni Maxine,
Mm-hmm.
For the men's side, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, so just quickly. For the men's side, it's interesting kasi I can't figure out who to put on either side. Kung pupunuin man nila ng 5 yan, diba? Maybe Cena, maybe just if you're out there ticking off boxes here, your bucket list niya for wrestling, maybe. But then, if medyo unbalanced pa din siya for like the lineups.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's interesting that once again Io Sky finds herself in a War Games match. I think we can finally say that this is Io's signature match. 8 years running diba, na she's in War Games. Siya lang across both men and women yung nasa lahat ng WWE branded War Games matches that they're eligible to be a part of. So that's a noteworthy stat.
It's kind of
right
weird
for Io.
I don't know if you should ever really go like what is the reason to do War Games all those years? But I guess it's a big match, it's big money, so why not?
Also, an interesting stat when I was watching Blood and Guts, which is essentially War Games. Roderick Strong has actually been in 3 War Games matches. I don't know how many Blood and Guts matches he's been in, but
I think it's the first.
Is this the first? Oh,
yeah, it's the first.
So parang nagiging signature na din yan, diba? So it's just another interesting note.
Mm-hmm. All right, since Chino mentioned the men's War Games match, ito na, for the men's side, you've got Cody, Jay, and Punk going up against Logan Paul and the Bronze. And then William Regal was actually summoned by CM Punk so he could do the thing.
That's hilarious. I feel like he should be lurking around backstage every November.
War Games!
Para lang diba? Para lang masabi na you summon him and he says the thing. Like he is the new Ron Simmons of this generation.
That's right.
Actually, pwede, yeah.
So, who do you think is gonna fill out yung men's War Games match?
I don't know. It's super weird. Like, I actually thought MFT versus the coalition that they have on SmackDown was a better War Games match. I thought
Coalition
they
or the
were-
Wyatt Six? Kasi binabangga rin nila yung Wyatts di ba?
Yeah, all that. So coalition and the Wyatts, diba? Like, I felt like that was more organic. Kasi they were putting together this ragtag group of people that the MFTs were just bullying on SmackDown.
Right.
Diba? Tapos
Sina Sammy, Ray Phoenix, and
yeah.
Shinsuke.
I thought that was the actual War Games they were building to. I say it was way more fluid and that was way more natural to me. The fact that we're openly pondering and wondering who's gonna fill out yung main event men's War Games match is proof that none of this is, or a lot of this is struggling to make sense. You know, so if I were them, I'd just fucking drop this and head to the MFTs to at least put over Solo Sikoa again. You know.
I think they're probably gonna pick people from the SmackDown side of things to fill this out, honestly, because the ladies did it.
Yeah, but
diba?
sino?
Diba? Sama mo yung pili ka ng dalawa dun sa MFTs. Oh,
Why?
sama rin,
No, I
diba?
mean, who did the Vision piss off on SmackDown exactly?
Diba? Well, they were also on. I'm not saying this is the best choice here, pero ang argument ko dito is the women did it. Right? Not all of them are from Raw. So
No, kasi the women had the women's tag team champions,
but
which is
they have time to
multi-brand.
build. They have time to build to like a reason here. I won't.
Yeah, I
again,
guess.
I'm not saying it's a good reason. Again, diba, we are in agreement na hindi ka maganda yung build up nitong men's side. But for balance sake, and that's the only reason I'm saying this, bubulot yan sa SmackDown.
Tayo na sobrang labo, like Cody suddenly jumped over to Raw just to do this, just to back up CM Punk for what exactly? Diba? Like, don't you have like Aleister Black to deal with?
No, I
right
understand.
now?
I mean, would it help if like sige, would it make sense then? Di ba, hindi pa yan eh.
Okay, so Cody's in the match. So I guess you put Aleister in. I guess that's a valid pick because he just messed with Cody last week.
And also Drew is suspended, so he's not going to be a part of that.
So yeah, it's going to be a tough sell, I feel.
Si Drew yung game kid nila. Si Drew yung lalabas ng table tsaka ng lighter fluid.
Actually, now that you guys mentioned it, sayang MFT versus Wyatt 6 and like maybe a random
like Nakamura and Ray Phoenix, like
sure. But like it would have been great. I can just imagine sina Loomis, Gacy, and Rowan going apeshit sa War Games.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, but that's not what we're getting.
Yeah.
We'll see. I actually want to know how they're going to resolve this because it's kind of there. You have two factions going at one another, and then you've got these other baby faces na ginagago ng MFT. So,
kaya nga mas maganda din kasi tignan to because you're focusing on the mid card here. Diba? Instead of the heavy focus on the main event scene, at least the mid card gets some shine.
Yeah, remember that all the gimmick matches eventually like kind of deteriorate to a point where you have to involve the mid card. Like remember the Elimination Chamber eventually had to involve the mid card. Let's say they kind of ran out of main event feuds to put in the main event players to put in the chamber.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll get into that as we get closer to Survivor Series at the end of the month. Let's get to the Last Time Is Now tournament, or the Last Time Is Now tournament, rather. So 2 more first-round matches have been announced. It's Javon Evans versus a returning Gunther, and Solo Sikoa versus TBD. So what do you think is going to happen here?
Yeah, so I got, again, as I mentioned in pre-show, I got sent some odds by an entity called Casino Guru. And Gunther is the front runner, like to no one's surprise. That's why he's the front runner. So he is the odds-on favorite to be the final match recipient, followed by The Miz and The Rock. They're tied at second, and third is Cody. So those are pretty obvious picks for now. I can't open the article, so I don't know who the least favorite is here. But
Nakakatawa to pag
yeah.
kalaban ni Solo si The Rock. Like on a random Raw. The Rock
Yun
is
nga, like,
involved.
how is The Rock involved here? Tournament nga, but at least 4 matches. Do we really expect The Rock to be
He puts
available for
himself
4
yeah.
matches?
I don't know, man.
Or may buy slot ba siya? How does this work,
He's the
right?
final boss. Hindi, yung finals ng tournament, yung mananalo doon, siya yung kakalabanin niya.
Jesus.
Kasi he's the final boss. But yeah,
I'm not sure. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say that. Okay, Gunther's the favorite. He's in the tournament, so I think it's gonna line up.
So Javon Evans is a first round boot.
Oh yeah.
NXT.
Honestly, I never nung nakita ko yung matchup, I never cheered for Javon. Parang, okay, Javon, good, nice knowing you.
Yeah,
Kasi Gunther na kagad eh, diba? What a bad draw,
exactly.
diba? He's just
Also,
there. He's just there because madali siya ibato ni Gunther. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's just there because he can make Gunther look good.
He's just there.
Yeah,
He's just there because Triple H saw Sari Slam. He saw Robin Shane versus Carlo Cannon. No, but interesting enough, with Cena's win of the Intercontinental Championship, so do you think the final match at Saturday night's main event is also for the title?
I hope so.
Diba?
Diba?
At least may legit stakes.
It makes sense.
Just,
may stakes.
Not just the
I hope so. It's also
Hindi lang siya celebration, yeah.
It's also noteworthy that this show will also feature a lot of NXT talent, like Cena said. Diba? He said this last time is now Saturday night's main event show is going to feature a showcase of NXT talent and main roster talent. So it's essentially like a mini Survivor Series or Worlds Collide here. Diba?
This is a hilarious point, but I feel like Wabawi siya from his reputation in the late 2000s.
Super Cena.
Remember that it's very public that he caused the Nexus to lose at SummerSlam 2010. So I think this is him making up for his crimes from a decade ago.
There are now 2 TBDs in the first round. Yung kalaban ni Solo Sikoa at yung kalaban ni LA Knight. Who do you think this is?
God, I don't know. Matt Cardona has to be one of them. Like, I feel like they're gonna bring someone from who doesn't work here, from outside the office, diba? It has to be someone who you can tie back to John Cena and be a legit surprise in the tournament. So I know Matt Cardona isn't really signed to TNA, but he's pretty much affiliated with TNA anyway, diba? So I don't think Triple H is averse to using non-WWE contracted talent at this point. Lalo na kung si Cena yung diba? Cena yung may say.
Si Mr. Iguana.
Sure, why not?
No, it might be Nick Nemeth. Nick Nemeth is still very much with TNA, so pwede rin siya. Diba? I want to go out on a limb and say Happy Corbin or Bishop Dyer. Diba? Because while he is not TNA, essentially in siya, I don't know what the relationship is with MLW, pero still a potential signing, potential guest appearance here, one of, since may history din sila with Cena.
All right. Last bit from Monday Night Raw. Stephanie Vaquer has her hands full, not just with the Judgment Day, but now also with Nikki Bella, who turned heel on her after Stephanie defeated Raquel Rodriguez.
Yeah, people wanted to boo Nikki, so they have a reason now. I hope that they now, understand how much better Nikki has gotten since coming back, since retiring the first time. So, syempre, when someone is going against the crowd, the smart thing to do is really just turn them heel, diba? And not waste any reactions trying to force someone who clearly doesn't want to be loved. Who clearly the crowd doesn't want to love, diba? So it's a good move. I don't know if that was a plan all along, but if it was a pivot from the original plans for Nikki, then it was a good pivot, diba? It was a good decision that that kind of proves it in. At least the Triple H administration can still think on their feet.
I just have a hard time believing Nikki Bella can give Stephanie Vaquer a competitive match.
Why?
Like, not really. Kasi iba yung pace ng style ni Nikki versus yung style ni Stephanie. You know what I mean? Like, mas mabilis si Stephanie and the way she wrestles is a lot more aggressive. Whereas si Nikki Bella, we've seen her kind of like catch up a lot of the times in the matches against these newer talent. Right? So, yes, nag-improve siya. Fair. And again, I don't know kung may credence to being a non-performer. Pero the fact that I've seen Nikki Bella kind really stumble a lot of times in the ring during her latest run, like parang hindi ako like masyadong convinced na she's a credible threat to Stephanie Vaquer.
I mean, the reason why they're still putting her on the reason why they're still putting her on TV is because, not athletically gifted aside, she is trying to match the pace of her younger cohorts or younger coworkers, diba? So I don't think she's shat the bed that bad, like this whole time. Like, yes, there were botches here and there, but for the most part, she is doing her best to catch up. I've seen a lot worse performances on Raw from people who are not as experienced or not as gifted in the ring or as an athlete. So if they wanted Nikki to get better, if Nikki wanted to get better as well, I feel like working with Stephanie would be the right way to do that. And I feel like I think they have some chemistry. I think they can work together. Bite them into Stephanie, if it seems like. So I'm not counting this out just yet. And I feel like, and working heel, this is insight from a performer, working heel gives Nikki the grace to slow down and not make as many mistakes as she would if she was, trying to be the super athletic baby face.
Can I also just say that having Nikki Bella back is still an asset, diba? Kahit na, she's now in her 40s. Yeah. It's not like Banu siya, diba? And she's got the star power that she's, carried over from her reality TV era, diba? When she did Total Divas and Total Bellas. And then, I don't know if you know this, Chino, but she did The Traitors. US, with some Survivor alumni, one of whom was actually on Raw, si Boston Rob. So, there's an actual new... There's a new subset of fans who now know who Nikki Bella is, and I'm hoping that they are somehow converted to being wrestling fans just because, they recognize Nikki Bella from The Traitors, and now they're watching Raw.
I mean, hindi ko naman discount yung value na dala ni Nikki Bella. It's just that in this matchup, in the context of this competition or in this matchup, parang hindi ako masyadong convinced na credible threats of Nikki Bella. Hey, but again, if this is a thing that she can pull off, then congrats to her.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's take another Emil Nate dance break and then we'll get to NXT. Marami na tayong kailangan pag-usapan from the Black and Silver brand right after this.
Mahal ko, pagkat saan ka man naroon, pitig ng puso ko'y para sa'yo. Naghihirap man ang aking damdamin, nagmamahal pa rin sa'yo, giliw. Libutin man kita'y di ko magawa, hindi pa rin ako nagbabago.
NXT was not a show that you could just ignore this week, especially after that last man standing match between Trick Williams and Ricky Saints. Hindi ko alam kung pumutok yung labi ni Ricky or dumugo siya from his teeth, but that image of him with a bloody mouth after he won last man standing, that was pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid, definitive win for him. Congrats to Ricky Saints. I don't know where this leaves Trick Williams next. About the busted lip, it's a hardcore match, so it's one of those things that just happens. It's part of the game. Nothing to be worried about, I feel. But yeah, hey, and Obafemi's back.
Yes, Obafemi's back. Showed up right after with 20 or 30 seconds left on the broadcast.
Actually, yung pinanood ko nga kanina, naputol pa siya eh. So it was I wrong? Did he just show up in the entranceway tapos cut na yung feed? Or
Yeah,
did
so if
I-
you want to see the entire thing, it's actually on the social media of
See,
NXT.
right? Yeah. So tama nga, naputol siya. Kasi I was watching it on Netflix earlier. Tapos naputol siya. It's like, okay, teaser lang ba to? Why? Is this a teaser? Did he say anything? Apparently, may mas mahaba pa nangyari. But this
No,
match...
from our end, he just appeared on the entranceway and we just had to say na Oba Femi was back.
Yeah,
and then,
yun napanood ko. Right? But the match itself, pretty solid for an NXT match, for a hardcore match even. Kasi that finish was incredible. I did not expect them to pull off that spear from that distance. So, the fact that nakita ko yun and the way these two men flew through the air into that table, my God, they're unexpected stuff. Good stuff all around.
What did you think of the way that Ricky won? Na both he and Trick were struggling and then at some point they were actually using each other to get up ng 10 count and then at the last second, Ricky pushed Trick and then kumapit siya dun sa apron so he could get his footing.
Medyo lang yun. Let me just say, medyo unbelievable lang yun. After getting hit with the chair so many times and then flying through the air into the table, nakuha pa ni Trick Williams tumayo. Like, if I would have sold that a little bit more kasi hindi convincing na ganun siya kalakas, right? After all that damage. So, I don't know. But that spot was still good, you know. I still found it very entertaining, the fact that they did a stunt that high risk.
Yeah, I'm no longer a big fan of last man standing matches, especially because the count to 10, the long, grueling count to 10, is a little bit anticlimactic. I also don't like the quote unquote creative ways they're trying to beat the 10 count. So either you just lay someone out and you prove yourself as the one who has the more metal, diba? Who is the healthier one in the match, or you don't do it at all. Diba? So I get what they were trying to do. Na syempre, you want to make them both equal, but in doing so, you also kinda made them both look weak. You know, in a sense, kasi like it didn't look like Ricky definitively beat the 10 count. Parang sinuwerte lang siya, or he had one last gust of wind in him, you know. So, but still, the rest of the match was still fine. You know, the rest of the match was still brutal as hell, and it's still at least much better to watch than a typical match. I feel like it was more compelling than a typical Ricky Saints NXT match.
So with Oba Femi coming back, do you think Oba gets back in NXT Championship or does Ricky put him away as well?
Hirap yun. Diba? Like how do you? It's like a Rey Mysterio matchup from the mid 2000s, or the late 2000s, where everyone else was just much bigger than him until people started becoming smaller in the main event scene. No, 2010s. So it's tough. At this point we thought Oba Femi was going to the main roster. Then apparently he's not done yet, which I totally get. Siyempre, you might want to season him a little bit more. But how do you send him packing without him looking like a chump after losing to, or presumably losing to Ricky Saints? Diba? Yun lang yung question that they have to get over.
I think the smart play here is to keep it on the Ricky Saints, because if they're all about making this quote-unquote developmental and establishing the new trend of wrestlers coming in, the new crop of talent that they have coming through the door, then putting the title back on Oba will essentially just make him look like a repeater. You know, like hindi siya graduate from school.
No, but weird that they brought him back in the first place. Like, so why?
Well,
do
yes,
that?
also weird that they kept him in NXT still. But at the same time, I don't want to see Oba Femi with the title again, because that means he's not going anywhere for the time being. Maybe this might just be a revenge match, diba? He never got his rematch. right, for the title. So it'd be a nice exclamation point to that, diba? Kung pinag-graduate niya si Trek from NXT, then what better way to send Oba as well?
Say what's up to our old friend, Boss Ron Baetiong. Tuned into the stream.
Hey.
What's up, Boss Ron?
Boss
Alright,
Ron! Fucking miss you, man.
one last bit here from NXT before we do predictions for NXT Gold Rush. We've got a new men's speed champion in Jasper Troy after he defeated El Grande Americano in a 5-minute speed match with about 10 seconds left to spare.
Yeah, he just out-healed EGA, but the speed championship is neither here nor there. It is what it is. I don't think people still care about it. Like, despite the reactions that it gets to NXT audience. So, sorry, Jasper. Jasper was confused. Babyface producer Jasper was confused when we were tagging him on Discord because it announced Jasper Troy. But yeah, I guess if you were gonna give a championship to Jasper Troy, it was the speed championship because it makes sense. Someone that big can wrestle a match where the idea could be to squash competitors in a short match. I don't know if that's gonna be a good idea for the people who get sent up to face him because usually the people who work the speed matches are those who can really go because it's a test of your gas tank, your cardio. But we'll see. Again, the Speed Championship is not really that consequential, despite them trying to make it a thing on NXT. But I guess better that than nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they gave Jasper Troy something finally, diba? After not making him win the title and making him look like a chump the other time. So at least, yeah, diba, he has something. Also, nakakatawa na the finish involved EGA fumbling his metal plate here. Like, I don't know kung may main roster implications ba to moving forward. Kasi, ano na nag-referee, nung nahulog yung thing, he was caught red-handed and then he got hit with the black hole stab. So, I don't know what the implications are for him, but it's still good, to see Jasper Troy win one.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's predict NXT Gold Rush, which starts next week, and then next 2 episodes ng NXT. So this coming Wednesday, Philippine time, NXT will be emanating from the theater at Madison Square Garden, and yung week 1 matches, actually both weeks have 4 matches each. So let's start week 1 with the Women's North American Championship. Blake Monroe defends against Sol Ruca, and this week we saw a very interesting conversation that Blake Monroe had with the Woman from Hell, which is her darker inner persona.
Yeah, people are calling it Mariah May, which makes sense. I don't know if they're willing to go that far in calling her Mariah May, which...
well, she did call it, herself the Woman from Hell in the vignette.
Kasi yun yan, diba? Like, they can't say Mariah May. But that was really good. It was really good. I like that they set up Blake's entire reason for being in this match with one interview segment. People are thinking that, people are making jokes about how this is Elias and Ezekiel or Elijah all over again. But it's not. It's really just a conversation between her and her inner personality. I like it. I guess Sol is back ready to compete, but I feel like the Woman from Hell said, it's just really a formality to establish Blake Tuloy as the actual legit champion on paper and in reality.
Yeah, I agree. I like this segment a lot as well because the one problem I had with Blake Monroe debuting on NXT is that her current gimmick as the Glamour can easily get lost in the shuffle of main roster talent na ganun din yung gimmick, diba? Yung Tiffany Strattons of the world. Diba? Yung pag-glam, pagpaganda, maganda ako, I'm perfect, all that. It's a very WWE blueprint here. So for me to see her doing that in NXT and outside of the WWE, parang gas-gas na siya eh. So the fact that she's bringing in this darker persona here, trying to use it as a sort of, I guess, split personality or I guess just an inner motivation, it's good for me because it sets her apart. And it makes her have this edge that I really wasn't expecting to be there, but it's a thing that we've seen on AEW. So the fact that she's bringing it over to NXT A very good move on their part. I will say also that this is definitely just a formality to put Blake over as the true North American champion. So had her time with the belt and it was fun, but it's Blake's time now. So I'm going with Blake for the role.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys have seen any comparisons to Bailey, because Bailey also has this switch where she goes from role model Bailey to positive and smiley Bailey. So, what do you think is the difference between Bailey's current character and itong segment with Blake Monroe and the Woman from Hell?
Yeah, they're not really doing a split personality thing.
Yeah.
It's not MPD. No. You switch from one personality to the other. I feel like Bailey was more like a Bruce Banner thing. She's gonna get angry, diba, and turn into the Rock. I actually likened it to Festus more.
Oh my gosh.
If y'all remember that gimmick. I think Blake was just measuring her ego and id, diba? The id being the I believe if I have my Psych 101, Psych 100 still right, the the woman from hell, and the ego being the proper self, the decent self. So it's just her conversing with her different facets, and not really
Parang siyang inner monologue na
it really is an inner monologue. It really
Yes.
is. It really is her debating with herself about what to do. Diba? How much of herself will she really show? How much of her inner animal, diba, will she really let loose? Diba? So it's those. Whereas Bailey is just switching between her gimmicks. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Ikaw, Chino, any thoughts or
Yeah,
you want to
no,
move
same. I was gonna say the exact same thing that Rose said.
on? All right,
So he
cool.
hit it on the head. Okay na.
Got it. All right, now NXT Tag Team Championship, Dark State defends against Javon Evans and Leon Slater. So nung NXT, Javon and Slater, they tried to pull a fast one over Dark State by pretending na Leon Slater was calling in. Yun pala, nandun si Leon Slater, and somehow both of them surprised Dark State enough to send 4 guys scurrying away
Okay, what
while
the fuck was
Javon
up
and
with
Leon
that?
Slater
Wait,
held the
first
ring.
of all, this is the second week this has happened. Last week nangyari dun sa Dark State to. And mag-isa lang si
Okay.
Jasper, mag-isa lang si Javon Evans dun, ha? So-
I mean, like, okay, the other guy was just there backstage, but still, when he came out, you were still only 2 versus Dark State's 4. How was that believable?
yeah.
Ang
So,
gago. So Dark State kind of looked like chumps there, kasi nagulat na sila. They weren't prepared for Leon Slater coming from behind. But yeah, that's fucked up.
Parang
Dark State's
Legend
a
ZA,
bun-
they got hit with a Pokeball from behind.
Yeah, Dark
They were
State
caught
a bunch of
unawares.
Dark State bunch of jobbers at this point. Parang kawawa sila kasi na-outsmart sila ng bata this the last week, and then now na-outsmart pa sila ng isa pang bata. So right, two essentially post-teenage people just fucking made them look like chumps on TV. Nakakatawa lang, and then this is the gimmick that they've been giving na maangas sila. They're like anti-establishment and all that, but then they get worked like clowns on TV. So at this point, I kind of just want them to give the titles to Javon and to Slater here, because that they papunta eh. I don't think they're keeping the titles on Dark State when they've been embarrassed 2 weeks in a row.
Baka that's the point. Nauupakan nila tong dalawang bata because they got punked 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I don't know why they're still investing in Dark State. I guess they see something in them. They have kind of looked like chumps since their debut, diba? With Cutler being gay for a time, and then no longer being ambiguously gay. So yeah, I feel like they're not gonna do the double champion thing with Leon Slater. I think they're just gonna. I think Dark State's gonna win, and then they're also gonna send Javon packing to the main roster soon.
Wow. All right. We've also got the AAA World Mixed Tag Team Championship. So it's Ethan Page and Chelsea Green versus Joe Henry and Thea Hale.
Would be great though, diba? For them to win. But also, it also would still be great. I mean, it is still pretty great to have Ethan Page and Chelsea Green still champion. So it's a tough decision. I feel like because Joe Hendry isn't officially signed with WWE yet that we know of, I feel like the champions will retain.
Yeah, it's medyo weird din to because on one hand, you have a great gimmick in the greatest North Americans, diba? In Chelsea and Ethan Page. But on the other hand, you also have Joe Hendry. And nobody likes seeing Joe Hendry lose, diba? He's been losing a lot on NXT, right? And most notably, that has never won a title on NXT. So, man, while this is not an NXT title, sure, you also run the risk of people losing favor with Joe Henry here. Kasi parang, title match to, di na siya mananalo, diba? Si LA Knight had that problem for a time, right? So, the fact that he is in another title match where he might potentially lose, kind of not a good look for him. But that said, I prefer the greatest North Americans over Joe Henry at this point, so I'm gonna go with them.
All right, and finally, we have the presumptive main event, the NXT Women's Championship match between Tatum Paxley and JC Jane. So, JC gets her rematch right after Izzy Dame cautioned Tatum na wag ka padalos-dalos, wag kang padadala sa emotions, and don't just hand out yung mga title matches just because feel mo lang. So, where do you think this is going?
This is also a really, really good story. Like, Tatum is playing the naive girl role pretty well. And okay. Tatum is Eugene. Without
Oh my gosh.
Without the disability. She's just naive and young. And Izzy Dame is clearly William Regal in the story. So Izzy is playing the William Regal well. And JC Jane is playing the Triple H role pretty well. They are handling this story much, much better than they know. They're recycling the story beats, yes, for sure. But Shepard, they're handling it much better because you know what happening in Tatum's character.
Yeah,
so,
sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I like how they're all playing around it. How it made sense for Tatum to give JC the rematch. How JC played for the rematch. So I feel like to go to the pick, Tatum will retain because syempre the big story here is Tatum versus Izzy.
Yeah, I like how it isn't as clear cut as we thought. Na parang, nanalo si Tatum, therefore she's gonna get the Randy Orton run, diba? From Evolution, or the Batista run from Evolution, diba? Thumbs up, thumbs out, tapos yun na, turn na. Right? It isn't as straightforward as that. Tama si Ro. There is a Eugene element to all of this. Na parang there is a mentorship happening here. And I like this, especially for Izzy Dane, because now she's not just a clear-cut heel, diba? Medyo tweener na siya at this point, trying to caution Tatum and to mentor her into, being a little bit smarter with her title. So
which Regal was before, diba?
When they first was doing before, yeah.
When they first paired with Eugene.
So tama to. So tama nga na it's not just as clear-cut as we thought na parang, yes, magtuturn din siya. It is going to happen. She is still going to turn. Diba? Pero I think it's going to take us some time and they're really going to stretch this story out. So that said, I think it's a good choice for JC to just be beaten by Tatum Paxley here.
Ang funny lang that
sorry.
Really quickly, ang funny lang that Izzy is playing the Regal role when huyu siya literally in a bunch of wrestling fans perception. Like we literally didn't know who Izzy Dane was a year ago.
Yeah, because she's from the NIL program. She's like from outside wrestling, from former volleyball player.
I mean,
what I was gonna ask.
To be fair, 3 of the 4 members of the calling are from the NIL program. So, lahat sila huyu, diba? If you're really gonna break it down.
What I was gonna ask is, I'm not sure if I remember correctly, pero di ba si Regal, wasn't he like reluctantly assigned to look after Eugene by Eric Bischoff?
Yeah.
So parang
Regal was heelish when they first got together.
Right.
He didn't want
Tapos
anything to do with
eventually
Eugene. He warmed up.
Eventually he turned face, diba? Parang like it became genuine care and affection towards Eugene. Meron bang ganun or am I misremembering?
I You can tell when Izzy was counseling Tatum to not give anyone a title shot. That she's kind of doing it for herself. Like
My ulterior motive shot.
ulterior
That's
motive
clear.
shot.
Yes.
But I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
JC was also so effective as a heel that they're also opening up the possibility that Izzy could warm up to the whole idea that Tatum is the champion and not her. But still, syempre, you have that, then you also leave the possibility of them doing a Randy Orton on her.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Tatum fits very well as the underdog babyface, and I think that's a role that the NXT Women's Division hasn't really had in a while. And I wish I could say that about Jordan Grace or Kelani Jordan, pero si Kelani sobrang OP siya as an athletic person, di ba? And Jordan Grace is so OP because she's so physically imposing. So parang Tatum Paxley, who is just she's not weak, but she's a creepy
She's a
little
really good
weirdo, as
athlete,
she likes
though.
to say. Yes, she is a really good athlete.
Yeah,
in real life, she is a power lifter.
Yeah.
So, hindi rin siya just na kung sino lang na nilagay sa NXT.
To be fair, she was part of the NIL program, or is, diba? So parang siyempre hindi naman sila mag-recruit ng kung sino-sino lang. But at the same rate, I get what you're saying, na in the grand wrestling scheme of things, wala siyang kasing level ng pedigree as the other people on the roster, diba? So yes, it totally makes sense. But I love the treatment that they're giving her here. I really love how they're making her look like a legitimate underdog despite being a champion, diba? Because she still has that greenness to her. Diba? Hindi ba siya masyadong seasoned as an athlete despite being the champion. So maganda na they're taking advantage of that and using it to tell story.
All right, so those are our thoughts and predictions for NXT Gold Rush Week 1. Medyo mahaba tong episode na to, tong stream na to, but that's what you get when you have so much happening in the span of 3 days. Holy crap. So we're going to be winding down right here. Chino, do you have any plugs that you want to get to?
Yes, so latest episode of the Class Clown podcast with myself features Leandro Reyes. He is a spoken word artist and a descendant of Lola Basham, aka Severino Reyes. So I talked to him about this art form and all that on this week's episode. It is out this Saturday on all your podcast aggregators of choice. Also tomorrow I will be at the Cellar Century Park Hotel for the Cool Pals open mic. I will be closing the show. Starts at 8 p.m. Just drop by if you want. It's the hotel right next to CCP, right next to DLSU if you're in the area. Also, Saturday, Comedy Manila Grand Year-End Mega Best Celebration. All the comedians ever from Comedy Manila. Well, not all the comedians ever, but a lot of the comedians from Comedy Manila, including the Cool Pals, including all the other headliners, will be there this Saturday at Samsung Theater. Paubos na yung tickets, guys. Please support us. comedymanila.ph/shows for all the tickets.
Ro?
May tickets pa rin for Alamat. Payday na bukas. So I think it's time. If you can't buy a ticket tomorrow just yet, meron pa namang isang payday before Alamat. PusoWrestling.helixpay.ph. It is the last Puso Wrestling show of the year. I'm in it. I think Stan's going to be there.
I'm in it.
Main Max Shepard is defending against Jake De Leon in a winner-take-all match. So go check that out, guys. Tickets go for as low as $999. Sulit na yan, guys. If you've been meaning to catch local wrestling, now's the time. It's never too late as long as we have shows. See you there.
All right. That's going to do it for the live stream. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you want to keep the conversation going, hit us up at Wrestling Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, at Wrestling2XPod everywhere else. Individually, it's at Roeswar, at Chino Supersize, at EML_Meister, and at _Stan C. We're going to be releasing our review of The Running Man, the new movie starring Glenn Powell, which hits theaters this weekend. Kami ni Chino, we were invited to the Actually, all of us were invited to the special advance screening. Kami lang yung nakapunta.
Yeah.
But we'll have a lot of things to say about it in the next episode of the Wrestling podcast. So if you're trying to decide if you want to make that part of your weekend, go check out that episode, which we'll be recording right after this, actually. But yeah, we'll also catch you sa Weekend Reacts early next week. Please say thank you to babyface producer Jasper because he always comes through and puts us over. And thank you for catching another episode of the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. For Romoran and Chino Liao, I'm Stan C, reminding everyone to stay safe, stay dry, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast out.
Peace.